did the direct rule work, or how direct rule worked, and we call it the nature of the direct rule in Tanganyika. So this is the time when the Germans applied direct rule in some areas of East Africa, and a good example is Tanganyika. So we say that at the top there was a governor who was the head of the colony, and he stationed himself at what we call the Dar Salam, and in the most cases a soldier. So this governor, who was helping the Germans in governing the areas of Tanganyika, he stationed himself at Dar Salam. So that's where you could find his headquarters. So at the top there was a governor who was the head of the colony. So the colonies that the Germans colonized, they were headed by governors, and this time around the governor of Tanganyika, he resided himself at Dar Salam, and he was a soldier. So the governor had the wide powers and the authority, and was directly answerable to the colonial minister in Berlin. Berlin, that is the capital city of Germany. So the governor was working on behalf of the minister, or colonial minister. So the colonial minister was the one on top of the governor, though the governor was helping in administering the colonies that were taken by the Germans. So to begin with, we started by looking at the governor who was governing the colony. At the same time, this governor was answerable to the minister of colonies, or the colonial minister, who was found in Berlin, the capital city of Germany. In 1904, there was a governor's council that was set up to advise the governor. So they realized that the governor could not work alone. He needed advisors. So what the Germans did, with the influence of the colonial minister at Berlin, they emphasized the governor to set up what we call a council of advisors to help him in the administration. Another one. For easy effective administration, or for effective administration, I beg your pardon, for easy administration, or for effective administration, the Germans divided Tanganyika into districts, and by 1914 there were 22 districts in in Tanganyika. So for easy administration, Tanganyika was further divided into different districts, and by the time the Uganda era was done, Tanganyika was having 22 districts. This was done by the Germans to effectively administer Tanganyika. So, still, district officers acted as judges and appointed chiefs to preside over courts and the administrators' punishments on their behalf. So they used to give punishments, and they used to judge who the district officers used to act as judges on behalf of the colonial governor, on behalf of the colonial minister. These people used to help in giving punishments, judgments to the criminals on behalf of the German government, with the hand of the colonial minister at Berlin. So the districts that were established in different German colonies, a good example is Tanganyika. They used to have the so-called district officers, and these district officers helped to create what we call law and order in the Germany district. Are we together? So going back, so the areas that showed hostility to German rule were put under military rule. Are we together? So there are some African societies tried to oppose the German rule, more so here in Tanganyika. So some of the African groups tried to oppose the German rule in Tanganyika, but these were put now under what we call military supervision to reduce on their pressure or hostility. So districts were further divided into counties, which were further split into sub-counties, and sub-counties into villages of 20,000 to 30,000 people. So For easy administration, there are districts that were created, for example, 22 districts, and still these districts were also further split into counties, and the counties were split into sub-counties, and from sub-counties to village levels. Each village comprised of 20 to 30,000 people. So areas that were trying to show hostility, they were oppressed, they were actually they were disciplined by the army, the German army. So areas that were trying to show opposition towards the German rule, they were put under military rule, unlike those that had accepted the German rule. So district officers acted as judges and appointed the chiefs to provide or to preside over the courts and administer punishment on behalf of the governor. Altogether, on behalf of the governor. Another one, we say that areas that showed hostility to German rule were put under military rule. E.g., by 1914, the two districts of Ingara and Mahenge were under military rule because they were trying to create chaos. They were too violent. They wanted to oppose German rule. So this made the Germans now to employ what we call force on those areas. In those areas for easy administration. Still, the Germans or the Germans governor in Africa and the district officers and the members of the governor's council, which was established to help the governor, they were all whites, and therefore the whites dominated the top positions, and Africans were left with the lower levels in terms of position. So the governor was a white,